productivity nut like me, or the opposite, you're struggling to keep your tasks organized and prioritized, then stay tuned because this video is about the Franklin-Covey planner system, considered by many to be the original planner system. I think the system is robust and flexible enough to really work for anyone, but at a minimum, it's worth knowing about it so you can take parts of it and work it into your own system. Hello, I'm Kate. I make videos about productivity and organization. My favorite videos are ones like this, where we talk about a productivity system in an academic way. This isn't going to be my own system that's vaguely inspired by Franklin-Covey. This is going to be the official Franklin-Covey system. There are 3 legs to the Franklin-Covey method. The first is prioritization. This is mostly based on the Eisenhower matrix. The second is the productivity pyramid. This is where we get the Franklin and Franklin-Covey, as in Benjamin Franklin. And the third is the paper planner system. This is how we actually implement the theory. Let's start with prioritization. Prioritization is actually where Franklin-Covey really shines, but I'm only going to spend a few minutes here because their prioritization principles are really in line with just the fundamentals. So it's not actually that Franklin-Covey specific, which is a good thing. For example, they really are into the Eisenhower matrix, though they use their own name for it. That's that 4-square system where you put everything into important, not important, urgent, not urgent. The Eisenhower matrix is a great thing to keep in mind to help us prioritize tasks that are not urgent, but are still important, and especially tasks that have a high return on the time invested. And as some foreshadowing, that idea of getting return on your time invested will come back again when we get to the productivity pyramid. I did a 4-hour Franklin-Covey seminar, and after the Eisenhower matrix, the next thing we talked about was the continuum of control, which is basically a graph of things we can versus cannot control. This is more mindset stuff, so I'm going to kind of gloss over it. But the biggest takeaway for me was when we have no control, the risk there is that we get frustrated trying to control it anyway. And when we have total control at the other end of the continuum, then the risk is procrastination because we can do it anytime. The final topic of prioritization in the Franklin-Covey method is they have their own system for prioritizing tasks based on ABC 1, 2, 3. And I actually really like this. First, every task gets a letter. A is for high-value tasks that must be done today. And B is for medium-value tasks that should be done today. And C is low-value tasks that could be done today. We are ranking how vital each task is, which is not how urgent it is, but how important it is. Let's move on to part 2, the productivity pyramid. This is the Franklin-Covey productivity pyramid. The base of the pyramid is identifying your values. And this is where Benjamin Franklin's influence really comes in. Franklin-Covey was originally 2 companies. The Franklin side had a consulting business based on Benjamin Franklin's writings. And the Covey side had a similar business best known for Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So values. Perhaps you've heard of Benjamin Franklin's 12 virtues. This was a list of 12 virtues that he identified that he wanted to dedicate his life to improving about himself. I'll put them on the screen. They are really good, and so are his definitions. So in the Franklin-Covey system, at the base of the productivity pyramid, you identify your values. And to do that, they want you to 1, identify your values, and 2, define them, and 3, prioritize them. I'll put some examples on the screen. These are things that you care about, things that you want to improve about yourself, and areas where you want to invest your precious time. And defining them is just what it sounds like. Maybe one of your values is health, but what does that really mean to you? To me, it means having the energy to keep up with my kids and to also do the things to accomplish my goals. And then prioritize. Some might come easily to you, like you might know without thinking about it that family is more important than money. But others maybe you really have to think about. And if you're having a hard time figuring out which one is a higher priority, think about a situation where they would both be in conflict, the 2 values would be in conflict. Which one would you choose? The next step up on the productivity pyramid is to set goals. Now, people, including myself, can use the word goals to mean different things, but the Franklin-Covey system uses a more traditional, correct definition. They say that a goal needs to be written down, it needs to have a deadline, be broken down to steps, and need to commit to it. And they also use SMART goals: simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, or perhaps relevant, depending on who you follow, and time-bound. They sell goal planning sheets, and these sheets really emphasize that your goals should be in line with your values. And that can go either direction. Maybe look at your values, and from there you set a goal. For example, one of your values is to be a good spouse, so you set a goal related to that. Or you can go the other direction. So if you feel like you really want a promotion at work and want to set that goal, you have to find some values that support that goal. And you probably have one because professional success is probably one of your values. But if it's not, then you have to look and see, why do I really want this goal? Do I really want it, and why? And of course, goals get broken down into steps. And then when you're doing your weekly planning, one of the things you need to do is check your goal sheets and add any tasks from your goals into your week, which is a perfect segue into the next step of the productivity pyramid, planning weekly. Weekly planning in Franklin Covey uses these little half-page inserts. Basically, there's a plastic little sleeve that doubles as a bookmark, and your weekly compass card goes inside that insert, and you see it every day. And here we see some influence from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So on your compass card, or the weekly planning process, which you do on your compass card, the steps are first to review your values and your goals. And 2 is to choose big rocks, aka your most important tasks, appointments, and areas of focus. And then 3rd is you schedule out your week. This process should take 20 to 30 minutes and is considered time really well invested, to get back the time from planning that you save later on. And the card is broken down into roles. And the first one is sharpen your saw, a term from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And what that really just means is self-improvement. So basically, put yourself first. Take care of yourself before you take care of other people. And this one even has pre-filled out areas like spirituality and health, etc. And then the next roles you fill in, like parenting or your work, and then there's space for the big rocks that go with those roles. And that brings us to the top level of the pyramid, daily planning. And here we're actually going to transition into part 3 of the video, which is about the implementation of this system and the actual paper pages of the Franklin Covey method. Because many people say that the actual daily planning sheets and daily planning method is where the Franklin Covey method really shines. Okay, so daily planning should happen every day. Evening or morning, it doesn't matter. It should take 5 to 10 minutes. And the steps are to check your appointments. These are times that you're no longer yours. You've committed this time to someone else now. Step 2 is to make a realistic list. And step 3 is to prioritize with that ABC 1, 2, 3 method. So what does that look like? The daily planning pages have appointments on one side and tasks on the other. And this is actually the same as my own paper planner system that I have been developing. It would go alongside the digital planner that is the flagship product of my company, Simply Digital. And if you think you might be interested in that, follow the link here on the screen, and you'll get some more info when it's available and probably some special early pricing. So click there if you'd like more info. Okay, so back on topic to the Franklin Covey method. First you fill in all your appointments, and then you see how much time is left. Maybe there's only 5 hours left that you have to get anything done. So now you need to make your realistic list. You have 5 hours left, but you have to consider interruptions too. Like if you work in an office, a lot of people say that you actually have to cut that time in half. But let's be generous and say that you have 3 hours that you think you can get things done. So a realistic list means only 3 hours worth of tasks go on your task list. And next you prioritize. Everything that has to be done today gets a little A. Everything that really should be done today gets a B, and everything that just would be nice, that gets the C. And next you get a number. So if you always do your planning first thing in the day, then that's always going to be A1, the very first task. And these numbers are meant to be sequential, not priority. So if there's a very important task that you actually want to do like right before bed, maybe something you have to read tonight, but you plan on reading it like in bed, very last thing, then that's going to still be A, but it's going to be a higher number, like A5, meant to be like the last task you do at the end of the day. So then you go through your day, tackling the tasks in the order you've set, and just checking them off as you go. They actually have really nice symbol system. The check is done, obviously, and then there is a forward arrow for anything that gets postponed. And you're supposed to first write it down in the new place before you do that arrow. This way nothing ever gets slipped through the cracks. If you put the arrow, meaning you're postponing it, but you never actually copy over the task into a new day. And then there is a circle for delegated. And when you successfully follow up and you know the task is done, you put a check mark inside that circle. If you're not going to be able to follow up today, then instead of putting a check inside that circle, you put an arrow inside that circle and you put the task to follow up with whoever you delegated it to into whenever you're going to do that. And let's see, circle, and the last one I think is a dot. And a dot is something in progress, and this is really meant when something gets interrupted. So when you're able to sit down again, you see the dot and you know, oh, that's what I was in the middle of doing, and you go finish it up. So that's the basis of the daily planning system. And it seems so simple now because they really are a gold standard. If you have a 2-page per day system, the other side is going to be notes. And here, Franklin Covey has a pretty complex system for date-based notes. This page is meant to be the place that you write any notes that you have to take today. And then you reference these notes, which presumably you need again in the future, by using today's date as the reference page. And you have to process the notes before you can check them off on your today's sheet. So first you say, is there a date, is there an appointment, and then are there tasks? And when you've answered those questions, you copy over any tasks, copy over any appointments into the right place in your planner, and you include, in parentheses, today's date. So you know that you flip over to today and you're going to see notes in reference to that task or that appointment. This system of referencing notes feels very like 90s businessman to me. I don't take date-based notes, so this aspect of Franklin Covey is just not for me. But if you take date-based notes, then I would really recommend learning more about this, because I think you do need some kind of system to not lose your notes if you're taking them, date-based. If you do that, I think this really would be a good one to use the date as like a reference and copy it over in all the right places. And you may have noticed we didn't mention monthly planning. Monthly planning isn't part of the productivity pyramid, but of course it exists in the system. The monthly planning is pretty simple. It's just a calendar for appointments and a master task list for any tasks that you know you need to do, but you don't really know when yet. And they also sell many other add-ons. This system is mature. It's been around for decades. And yeah, you can buy other little add-ons, the originals, or also knockoffs. Lots of other companies sell things that will fit into the same binders. That's probably something I like most about this system. You can go to any store where they sell planners and find Franklin Covey products or Franklin Covey compatible products, and browse on the add-ons and see things that call to you or that you would like a zip pouch or a snap-in bookmark, or even just some plain blank paper for extra notes that fits into the planners. And I'm sure someone out there sells a Franklin Covey compatible page for anything you would want, like meal planning, budgeting, yeah, anything you can think of. I'm sure if you search for it, you will find it. I said at the start that Franklin Covey is flexible, and maybe I forgot to mention it, but these are binders with loose papers that go inside. The binders they sell are priced to be something you use for years and years. But if you're not quite sure how committed you want to be to the system, again, there are lots of knockoffs. And there's 4 different sizes. The smallest could probably fit in like a large men's pocket, and the largest is like a full-size sheet of paper, depending on how much you want to move this thing around. Okay, that is pretty much the Franklin Covey method from a high level. Not to repeat myself again, but this is a very time-tested and widely trusted system. I used Franklin Covey, or maybe it was a knockoff, I'm not sure, I don't remember, throughout my school years. And that little cream and peach book was my second brain back before second brain was a thing. In fact, I only recently got rid of all of the page inserts that I had used from when I was young. They were all rubber banded by me or in a box of a bookcase in my childhood bedroom. And yeah, I leafed through some of them and let them go. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please like or subscribe, or both. I'm so grateful to the few of you who stick around to the very end. Hug. And if you are shopping for a new planner system, maybe follow the link to check out mine when it's ready. See you in the next one. Ciao.